Hola! In this lesson, we'll be learning how to tell your schedule during your school day. And to do this, we'll need to learn some classes. We can call those clases or materias, subjects. And we also need to review telling time. So with a slight twist. So this is to teach about your horario, mi horario. I'm going to let you observe as Mario here tells us a little bit about his schedule. We won't read the whole paragraph just yet, but let's read the beginning. Me gustan mucho mis clases este año. Por la mañana tengo 4 clases. Primero tengo la clase de inglés. Después tengo educación física. Luego voy a la clase de historia. Después de historia tengo español. Me gusta mucho porque es muy interesante. Of course a teacher would say that, right? Okay, I'm going to pause there. And if you've noticed some words that tell the order, we call these ordinal adverbs. Primero tengo whatever class a las 8:20. That's the word first. Después tengo la clase de historia. You might have guessed that means then. Now see if you can figure this next one out. Después de historia tengo matemáticas. Here it takes a slightly different meaning. I used después de and I referred to the previous class and then I paused. If you guess that means after history I have math, whereas después just means then, you correctly noticed the difference. Okay, so here it is in this paragraph. Después tengo educación física. Then I have, maybe you guessed that this is physical education, which we might call gym class. You may have also noticed the expression por la mañana. That's an expression that just means in the morning in general. Another word where you're seeing quite a bit is the word tengo, which means, hopefully you remember, I have. So here we have, first I have English class, which is called the class of English. Then I have education physical. Again, some backwards order. We've got to learn some classes. Later, I go to the class of history. After history, I have Spanish. I really like it because it's very interesting. Okay, so those all fit in the category of in the morning. So a lot of confusion we'll have to fight later about then and after, but I'll skip down to the next slide here. These are some materias organizados por tema. Ciencias, if you can guess. I'll give you some examples. You can guess what this heading is. Biología, física, química, ecología, geología, all fit into the sciences. Las matemáticas, álgebra, geometría, curso de cálculo, I think I'm missing an accent mark, la trigonometría, all fit into math. Las ciencias sociales, la historia cívica, la filosofía, the social sciences. Las artes o el arte, la cerámica, la clase de dibujo, la clase de pintura, la escultura, and many others fall under the arts. So sometimes you'll see artes plásticas, which I think has to do with sculpture and actually handling something, because arts can also mean drama and music, right? That's a form of art. So when we see artes plásticas, that refers to art that you would create with your hands, right? Then we have el inglés, el lenguaje, which for us, English is language class and not a foreign language. This would be maybe your schedule here. But remember that for other countries, English would be a foreign language, which is what this says over here. Idiomas extranjeros. Español, if you didn't know, can also be called castellano. Many countries, well, not many, but some, such as Argentina, will call Spanish castellano. They'll say castellano. Francés, French, Alemán, German, Japonés, Japanese, Chino, Árabe, Ruso, many languages in the world to learn. I skipped over music. La música, coro, choir, la banda, band, orquesta, la banda de marcha. And then, which is kind of an American word, I've seen some countries call it a military band, even though it might be in a school, that style of music. And then otros selectivos, I think I have a misspelling there. Educación física, phys ed, la computación, something on a computer. La hora de estudio, something that some of you have. El almuerzo, my favorite period of the day. Mi periodo favorito del día, lunch. Descanso, another word for break. We're going to see that on some schedules that maybe they don't have lunch listed, but maybe they have a recess or a break, which can also be called recreo. So lots of vocab there, but those are all materias. We could just call them clases for now. Watch as I show you a model for how to use these adverbs. Primero tengo la clase de inglés a las 8 menos 20. Después tengo la clase de historia a las 8:30, maybe. Después de historia tengo matemáticas. Luego, más tarde, por fin. We're going to be memorizing those. Later on, and finally. We also could use the ordinal numbers to refer to periods. Primer periodo, segundo periodo, tercer periodo, cuarto periodo, quinto periodo, sexto periodo, y séptimo periodo. Now, we need a way to tell what time it is when we're not referring to a time right now. If you notice, maybe you remember earlier we've learned the expression son las 8. Es la 1, son las 2, son las 3. Son las 4, son las 5, son las 6. Son las 7, son las 8, son las 9, son las 10, son las 11, son las 12, ¿qué hora es? Well, that was ¿qué hora es? But right now we're talking about not what time it is right now, but at what time we have a certain class. So we need the expression a las 8:30. Tengo clase de inglés o la clase de inglés a las 8:30. Referring to a time that's not right now. So we're going to change our formula a little bit from, instead of es la 1, son las 2, we're going to refer to them both as a la 1 and a las 2. We still add the minutes and would say, like, if you have a class at, let's say, at 1:30, we would say a la 1:30. If you had a class at, I don't know, 2:15, a las 2:15. Okay, so you might ask a friend, ¿a qué hora tienes biología? Tengo biología a las 10:30. I have biology at 10:30. So at 10 and a middle, which you could also call 30. So that's a review of telling time. If you wanted to add these expressions on, you could. Maybe your class is at 10:30 in the morning. You could say, tengo biología a las 10:30 de la mañana. I used de because I named a specific time, versus when I just said in the morning here, it was por la mañana, just in the morning in general. But if you name a specific time, it does turn into de la mañana. Little tricky thing there. De la tarde and de la noche. The other way to get around that is to use military time, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Okay, you could also ask a friend, instead of at what time do you have biology, you could say, at what time is your class of biology? ¿A qué hora es tu clase de biología? And you could respond, mi clase es a las 9. I don't think you can see all of that. Sorry, it's going off the screen. Okay, so let's imagine that this is your schedule, and we want to practice telling times. I'm going to ask you at what time a class is, and just try to focus on telling at the time. ¿A qué hora es tu clase de inglés? You try it to answer it. I hope you said a las 7:40. Or you could say a las 8 menos 20. If you do the whole minus thing, it's 20 till 8. Or if that's confusing, just call it 7:40. You just have to remember the number for 40. ¿A qué hora tienes clase de matemáticas? A las 8:35. ¿A qué hora es la clase de educación física? Gym class. A las 9:30. Or a las 9:30. And if you wanted to say at the beginning, you could say, mi clase es a las 9:30. Or you could say, tengo educación física a las 9:30. Again, I can use the words es, or I can use the word tengo. Okay, la clase es. I'll do es for the next one. La clase de historia es a las 10:20. La geometría es a las 11:19. Tengo almuerzo a las 12:15 or 15. Okay. So let's practice a little bit with these ordinal adverbs now. I'm going to point and you try and think and stay one step ahead of me. See if you can reveal the word. We're going to just try to memorize these. We're going to say primero, después, después de. Let's try those. Primero, después, después de. Then we're going to have luego, más tarde, por fin. Luego, más tarde, por fin. Luego, más tarde, por fin. Let's try those again. Primero, tengo historia a las whatever time. Después, after, después de, and I have to refer to the previous class if I use that one. Después de inglés, pause. Tengo español a las 9:30. The last ones. Luego, más tarde, and por fin, or the word finalmente. Or, if I don't like using ordinal adverbs, I could also use ordinal numbers. These are a little different than counting numbers, just like in English. 1 is very different than first, and 2 is very different than second. They start with different letters. So here we have primer, which primero we already know, but it's dropping the O because I've mentioned the word periodo. But we say primer periodo, and it gets abbreviated. It looks like a little 1 degrees, but that means primero. But the O here again is implied. Primer periodo, segundo periodo. It almost looks like second, like 2 degrees if I abbreviate that. Tercer, cuarto, quinto, sexto, séptimo. You can use either one of these. Again, I'll go back to a model in a moment. You can look at them. But primer, segundo, tercer, cuarto, quinto, sexto, séptimo. You say them with me. Primer, segundo, tercer, cuarto, quinto, sexto, séptimo. We don't have more periods than class periods than that in our day, but just to teach you the numbers, you next would have octavo, noveno, and décimo. So, okay. We also might want to use the words before and after, like these expressions. Antes de almuerzo, tengo hambre. Before lunch, I'm hungry. Or antes del colegio, tengo prisa por la mañana. Before school, I'm in a hurry in the morning. Or I might use the word después de, like we've seen it in some paragraphs. So antes de and después de. Maybe we'll practice with those in a moment here. Here is después de. Después de almuerzo, voy a la clase de ciencias. After lunch, I go to science class. All right? Después de matemáticas, a las 2:35 salgo del colegio. After math, there's our word at, 2:35, I leave school. Okay. Let's see. Maybe I'll pause it at that, and hopefully you can go back and rewatch the video if you're unclear on some words, and more to come soon on that.